Good evening, everyone. Time for another silver update. This is the daily chart of the Dow Jones Industrial crossed over the spot price of gold provided by netdania.com. You can click on the link below. Now, you can see that we still have this trend in paper assets. We're still rising, and we've got a rally in the last few days here in the Dow Jones Industrials. If you remember, they rejiggered that index. Now you can see we have a decline in gold. If you remember, I had pointed out in the past with this extreme difference here with a high price in paper and a low price in, well, this is paper gold, but the suppressed price of gold, that I was expecting a reversal of this for these two to come and meet and cross. Today we've got the opposite. We've got them pumping paper, and of course that's very important. That's what they do. They promote the counterfeit and they suppress the real thing. That's their pattern for the longest time, and it's not surprising to see them do that, especially with this war story kind of being put off the table. Now, I had said before, based upon the oil price, especially when we had this move right here, when we rallied to the 112 and then we crashed back down to below the breakout point, I had said that we were not going to get a war in Syria based on the oil price. It's just simple math. If any insiders knew that this were on for sure, then they could make billions in profits by simply going long the crude oil. And we know that many of them have that inside information. They did not act on that. There was an initial breakout that appeared that they were going to act, but that was when the 72-hour announcement was made. But then, of course, it crashed down. That was when I came to the conclusion that there wasn't going to be this full-scale invasion in Syria. I still believe that based on the oil price. Now, the silver price has been sideways at this support line that I've been talking about for quite some time. We went a little bit below it, but we're still right at that price point. We haven't really crashed down below it. We haven't really continued the rally. The MACD has pretty much fully reset itself, so we're waiting for some type of conclusion of this price action. And of course, we're watching this MACD on the daily as it slowly resets back to the zero line. Now, I wanted to look at this story about GLD. This is a shocking story that we're looking at. The counterfeit, the paper is being pumped while the real thing is not available. But before we do that, I wanted to cover this story here, of course, on the anniversary of 9/11, a day that will live in infamy, a day that changed the course of U.S. history. Right after that, we had the introduction of Homeland Security, harking back to the Nazis and the fatherland, etc. But we have Homeland Security protecting us from the terrorists, and the way they're doing that is they're raiding flea markets. Yes, Homeland Security and ICE did a big sting on an Alabama flea market. And this is from ICE's website. Wetumpka, Alabama, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, in coordination with Alabama State Police and the Elmore County Sheriff's Department, seized approximately 60,000 counterfeit items from an Alabama flea market Saturday, worth a total manufacturer's suggested retail price of more than $2 million. The seized items include counterfeit designer clothing, handbags, shoes, sportswear, and electronics. HSI seized the counterfeit merchandise from 47 vendors offering fraudulent items for sale within the Santa Flea Market located at 7300 Central Plank Road in Wetumpka following a 6-month federal investigation by HSI special agents. ICE's enforcement and removal operations. There's another three-letter agency that your tax money pays for. Officers also arrested 2 individuals for immigration violations. The flea market itself and legitimate vendors on the premises remained open during the operation. Quote, criminals who sell counterfeit products are economic parasites who harm legitimate businesses that pay taxes, create jobs, and support our national economy, said Special Agent in charge of HSI New Orleans, Raymond R. Palmer, Jr. Anyone who thinks counterfeiting is a victimless crime should realize the profits of these black market sales are routinely diverted to support further criminal activities such as drug trafficking, money laundering, and even potential terrorism. So we've got our flea market terrorists. Now, of course, they don't appear to be too concerned about the counterfeiting that is going on in GLD. This is from King World News. Amazing GLD ETF tells customers you can't have the gold. Today, one of the most highly respected fund managers in Singapore shocked King World News when he said that custodians of the ETF GLD have refused to give people physical gold in exchange for the shares. Grant Williams, who is portfolio manager of the Volpes Precious Metal Fund, also warned that the massive and escalating paper claims on physical gold at the COMEX warehouse are going to create an explosion in the price of gold. Below is what Williams had to say as King World News readers around the world take another trip down the rabbit hole. And I'm going to link this article. You can go ahead and read that. Now, this chart is one that King World News and others have been covering. Recently, it was at about 50. Now it is broken up to about 60. So let's do a close-up of this image. You can see that this is COMEX registered gold stocks in millions of ounces overlaid over the open interest ounces divided by COMEX registered gold stocks. So that gives you owners per ounce. Now you can see for the longest time here, the number of owners per ounce of the COMEX stocks was roughly 10. You can see that it wasn't until this year that this moved from around 12 to all the way where it is now, it's 60. We're talking a 5-fold move in the number of owners for every ounce. So that is an end game number right there, but we also have the precipitous decline in the number, millions of ounces of registered gold stocks on the COMEX. You can see it's now at 0.67. That's a fall, and that's just this year, just 2013, from 3 million down to 0.67. So you do the percentages, you can see that it only needs to move just a fraction of how far it's moved this year to go to zero, to where we have an infinite number of ounces of gold, paper gold, an infinite number of owners of 1 ounce of paper gold, and a zero number of physical gold on the COMEX. So from this chart, one would have to conclude that we are rapidly approaching endgame. It's good to know that Homeland Security is busy raiding flea markets for counterfeit goods rather than raiding the COMEX for counterfeit gold. So back to the charts. Silver is correcting, but we're expecting that when it gets near this zero line, it's probably going to reset. We don't know that for sure. Now, I did receive my 2014, we'll put that in here, the 2014 Lunar Series horses, and I have to say that those are actually more impressive in person than they are in the picture. So let's get a big image here of them. And what you notice when you get this coin, it's not really apparent from the picture, but when you get the coin, there is a type of frosting on the background here, which is very, very impressive. The details in this background is also incredible. I have to say that As far as the Lunar Series, now I love the Tiger, don't get me wrong, but this coin is the most impressive Lunar Series coin that I've ever seen. Now, we initially covered this when it was offered on AppMex. They offered it $35. I snapped up a few of them and then posted it to the membership site, and they were gone, at least according to one of the members who called AppMex, and apparently they have a list of gold and platinum members and people that were on a waiting list that were supposed to be notified, and they said they were gone in about 20 minutes. So they'd have them back again now, but they're listed at about $38. I'm thinking that maybe AppMex is going to inch up the prices and see if the coins actually sell out. Now, you have to remember there's only going to be 300,000 of these. They also have the half ounce that are about $16, and there are some 2 ounces that are about $58. So you're talking the best per ounce price is going to be those 2 ounce coins, and that's going to be less than $30. So that's a fantastic deal on the 2 ounce coins. Now, the big gamble, of course, when you're talking about half ounce coins and 2 ounce coins, those have an unlimited mintage potential, whereas the 1 ounce coins have that limit of 300,000. Now, any of those things can change, but going by previous history, the Perth has pretty much held to that 300,000 limit. Now, the half ounce ones, I bought a large number of the half ounce dragons. I don't believe they reached the 300,000 amount that the 1 ounce were at, and I know the 2 ounces came nowhere near that. So it may be something worth looking at, but we're going to keep a very close eye on the price action in these 1 ounce. Again, this is my favorite of the Lunar Series so far. I'm going to be watching this one closely for quite some time. So we've got to watch this GLD story. We're coming to a turning point here. They're running out of physical stocks. They're turning people away, and the music is starting to end. We're looking at the end of the music, and there's very, very few chairs. Only people with physical are going to have a chair at the end of the music. And we'll talk to you next time.